the high jump in 1994. Then at the National Scholastic Indoor Championships, you jumped 7'4" at the Santa Barbara Easter Relays, which was second best for a Californian ever and eighth best nationwide. Talk more about your recruiting experience and what colleges were going after you.
I'll kind of talk about this too. It just kind of, it was kind of sad. Harvey Glantz just passed away. Rest in peace. And Harvey was actually my coach on my first junior world team. And so Harvey literally just resonated so much with me. Like he sat there and he just, he won a gold medal when he was like a high senior in high school. And he was just the most positive, like energetic, unbelievable person. And, I've been fortunate to still associate myself with him this many years later. And so I took a recruiting trip to Auburn because of Harvey. It's crazy to see like how track landscape is changed so much. At Auburn, the guy who picked me up was Greg Metcalf. He was the GM. Yeah. And he drove me from Atlanta Airport to Auburn, which is like 2 hours away. And the jumps coach and the field event coach and assistant sprint coach was Coach Shaver, who's now the director of track and field at LSU. Yeah. And that's the one who recruited me. And then Harvey was the head coach at Auburn. And, I took a trip there and I just really, Harvey just, inspired me to kind of go there. I took a trip to Wisconsin, Mark Napier, and that's where I ended up deciding to go. And they had the perfect mix of education and athletics because education was important. And, we were super successful. It was fourth at nationals while I was there, won the Triple Crown of the Big Ten, dominated the Big Ten while I was there. Years later, we were kind of the antithesis of the team that won the national championship because it was kind of a legacy that was built. And then I took a trip to Indiana, and it's funny, full circle. The high jump coach was James Lott, who was like a 7'8" high jumper. And I went there because I was like, oh, he's a high jumper. He would know me. He would know how to coach me. Indiana had a good, school academically. Mm-hmm. And then, after those 3 trips, I was just exhausted. And I just sat there and said, I took unofficial to UCLA. That was my dream school. And I'm not going to lie, UCLA was my dream school. That's where I wanted to go. I went to all the basketball games and, they gave you free tickets and stuff like that. Yeah. And went to USC unofficially, Cal unofficially. And it just, through the process was exhausting and tiring. And it was really hard because the information isn't like it is today. I mean, you couldn't Google. Like you literally I remember going into my my high school library and looking up books for every school and seeing like, okay, this is what they're good at. This is what they're not good at. You had no idea coach wise, like there was no information on coaches. Like it was kind of like, if you're a great jumper, you went to Arkansas or Tennessee. If you were a great sprinter, you went to LSU or Texas, or UCLA. And it's just so different now because there's so many great coaches. There's so many great programs. And there's just so much more information. It's harder. I would hate the process now compared to when I was in high school. It was tiring. It was more phone calls and things like that. And my parents, they weren't athletes, so they had no guidance and help and stuff like that. And so it's things you learn, and stuff. And nothing against UCLA, but that was kind of my dream school. But in the end, I kind of wanted to get away, experience something different. And at the time, no offense, it was like they didn't have a full-time jumps coach. They had kind of a volunteer assistant. And that's kind of how they did it. And it was just, I was like, I'd love a full-time, high jump coach or jumps coach and stuff like that. So it's a lot different back then than it is now.